Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. I am, as you can see, outside of my house. And of course, I'm doing my morning cup of joe, using my morning cup of joe mug. And I'm still celebrating. If you saw my post yesterday that I shared from a video that I did a few years ago with my agent who I bought the house with, I'm still celebrating the purchase of my house. Um, every year, as I said in my video yesterday, every year I celebrate when I bought my house, which was, we closed on May the 8th, we recorded on Monday the 11th. So typically, this is kind of exactly the scenario that when I bought the house. I wanted to talk today, though, about different aspects of that purchase, because it's a story that I tell all the time to clients. It's a story that I absolutely love, and a lot of times when I share my story, it brings me to tears. So the lady that I bought the house from, her name was Janet Powell. She was a widower. Her husband was a Navy officer, I believe, or a Navy person, I think. But they had actually rented the house from a Navy officer. And this was back in 1947. The house was built in 1947. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home, 1,100 square feet. Actually, it was less square footage, but she added about 300 square feet to the kitchen. Anyway, so when I was looking back then in 2001 for a home, the market was crazy. I mean, people were putting in offers and multiple offers. At one point there were 12 offers, 15 offers. That was what I was experiencing. And I was qualified for 228,000. I bought my house for 221. So I remember when I first came to see the house, it was on a Friday afternoon. I was actually at a meeting at the Marriott down the street for the company I was working for, GSK. And I had already told my real estate agent that I was going to take a break because the whole process was just overwhelming. I couldn't find anything. I had put in offers and got nothing. I was frustrated, and she texted me in the afternoon. She says, there's a home that just came on the market. I think you might like it. And I was like, man, I had already decided that I wasn't going to look anymore for at least for the weekend. But it was on my way home. So I said, okay, sure, why not? And so I came. I liked it. I mean, it was kind of on a busy street. I live on Clark Avenue. I liked it. And the lady, Janet, was actually here when I came to visit. She was in a wheelchair. She was actually a nurse, an RN, I believe, at the Veterans Hospital. But she was a widower. Her husband had died many years ago. And anyway, so I looked at the house, and I thanked her for letting me see it on a Friday afternoon. And I told her, she has a really nice home. And of course, I got close to her and I asked her, why are you selling? And my concern was that, because I knew the agent, I'm not going to mention his name, but I don't particularly care for him. And I was concerned that he had maybe talked her in to, selling the house. Because back then I didn't have a license and I had this opinion of real estate agents. Anyways, but she said that she was moving back to Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I believe it was Iowa. And because, basically she was going back home to die, really, although she was in good health, with the exception that she was in a wheelchair. But I thought, okay, fine. So I went home, and I'm a very spiritual person in many ways. Not in many ways, I am. And I went home, and I was watching TV, and I was watching this movie, and it was a God movie. It was about the gods in heaven, and they wanted to destroy the earth. But they were all the gods were in arms and saying, no, we want to save the earth and da 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 da. So they decided that they would bring two humans up into the heavens, and that they had to fight for the earth, for all of us. That was the movie. And, there was turmoil, there was arguments between the gods and the humans, and yada yada, and wars and all that stuff. And I remember that I put all the offers that I had made, which I think was about 4. I put them on the coffee table. I lit candles everywhere. And then I just kind of started to pray, and then eventually I fell asleep to this movie. But I could hear the movie in the background. I could hear the gods and angry, and why should we save the earth? And you have to tell us why we should save the humans. And in the midst of all of that, this is the part that makes me cry. I woke up. I had this rocking chair in my living room, and it started rocking. And I saw my grandmother in that chair, in that rocking chair. And she said, mijito, esta es la casa. Solamente cuida a esa señora. Basically, she said, this is the house. Just take care of this lady. I freaked out. I mean, I jumped out of the sofa. I started breathing heavily. And, in the background of my grandmother on that rocking chair, I saw another image in the back, which I think was my mother. Anyways, so the next morning, I came home. I called a friend of mine who used to have a construction company, and I asked him if he would come back with me to see the house again, which he did. That was Rich Grizzle. And he came over here with me, and he said, this is a pretty solid house. This lady has really kept the house in great order, yada, yada, yada. It's in great condition. Everything looks really great. So I put in an offer at what I thought was a good offer, and it was a little below what she was asking. And of course, the real estate agent, again, who I dislike, and this was before I got into real estate, he came back and said something to my agent. Well, if you want to play ball, you gotta play ball, meaning that I needed to go up on my offer. But I stood firm. I think I went down $2,000 from her list price. And I know that there were multiple offers, and I know that there were other offers that were above me. I know that she had an offer that was $10,000 and $15,000 over my price. But she eventually chose me. And I was so excited. I was so happy. And part of the reason at the time that I believe she chose me was because she was moving, and she had a house that she was building, that she was going to move into in Cedar Rapids. And it wasn't ready. So it meant that I was going to have to move, close escrow, move somewhere, put my stuff in storage, and move until she was out of the house. I was happy to do that. That was part of my negotiation tactics. It wasn't really a negotiating thing. I just kind of thought, here's this lady who's lived here her whole life. Her husband died. She's going basically back to Cedar Rapids to die. And I wanted to create an experience. I wanted to really have a wonderful experience. And I had heard all these stories of real estate transactions and with the realtors and the people and getting angry and people doing crazy things. I didn't want that kind of an experience. I wanted to create a positive, memorable experience for myself and So anyway, so I let her stay here in this house until she was ready to leave, within reason, which, I think it was she stayed here for like a month and a couple of weeks, so maybe 6 weeks. I did move out. I put everything in storage. I moved in with some friends of mine. They offered to put me up for the duration of the time. And then, the rest is history. I opened escrow. I think I mentioned this in the video that I sent her yellow roses when we opened escrow. And then I sent her roses again when we closed. And then when we actually closed, which was actually May the 8th, when we closed escrow, it was kind of a mood thing. Of course I was excited, but, it was like, okay, I'm not going to move into my house for another, 4 to 6 weeks. But I was certainly excited. I was glad that things worked out. And here I am, 25 years later. I love my house. I can't imagine going anywhere else. I thank Janet Powell all the time. Her and I kept in contact for years. She would send me birthday cards, Christmas cards. I would do the same. Her family actually absolutely loved me because they were so ecstatic that I allowed her to stay here rent-free. They were and they kept in contact with me as well over the years until she died. When she died, they let me know that she had passed away and again thanked me profusely, etc., etc., etc. So I'm sorry this is a long video, but I wanted to get that out. I wanted to do a new video. Then this is it. And by the way, I'm wearing yellow because when I bought the house was yellow. It was kind of like a faded yellow on the sides, and she had yellow roses actually. And again, all of that stuff played into that dream that I was having. There was yellow, bright yellow around the images that I saw. And to go even further, which I think Nancy mentions this in the video, I was working for GSK, and every 2 years I would get a new car, right? And so the next time that I got a new car, I got a yellow car. It was a Ford Escape, I think it was. And people knew when I was coming, it was this yellow, this bright yellow. I loved it. So anyway, I apologize. This is a long video. I am going to do one more, maybe 2 more videos, but they will be shorter. I do want to say one other thing. I don't want to, even though Mrs. Powell is dead now, I did find out later through my neighbor, and actually through some of her neighbors, which really made me understand why she chose me. And again, I don't want to disclose that to the public, even though she's deceased now, but it was a very personal thing. And again, I think so strongly that things happen for a reason, and I feel strongly that if you're out there looking for a property, the right home is going to show up for you. You just have to listen. Use your heart. Do the right thing. Don't try to screw anybody, and things will all work out. They did for me in 2001. I'm sure those kind of things can happen today as well. That's it for now. I hope you like my story. Again, I apologize, it's a long one, but hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you do, please be sure and hit the like button and make some comments. I'd love to hear what you think. For now, I need some more coffee. Have a great morning.